Well, let's all just pray that this goes well. So, anyways, today I am talking about something that is usually outside of my purview, at least on my normal videos. I may have discussed other topics on live streams in the past, but today I'm talking about something I don't normally talk about. Well, religion, I guess, is the best way that I can describe it. So recently, Dr. Jordan Peterson went on George Janko's podcast. And I've been kind of following these guys for a couple years now, and I find their content interesting and stuff that they've been doing to be good. And so recently, before the interview that George Janko did with Dr. Jordan Peterson, he went on Jubilee and he did their Surrounded, right? And he got a lot of backlash from both Christians and atheists. Originally, the title was One Christian versus 20 Atheists. And I will show a clip just for evidence, but Jordan Peterson said that no, it was just, he was offered a bunch of topics, and it was not one Christian versus 20 atheists. It was Dr. Jordan Peterson, or Jordan Peterson versus 20 atheists, right?
I'm actually going to speak a little bit in their favor for a minute.
No.
Well, because as it turned out, as I understand, the people who were arguing with me were told a different story than I was told.
Oh.
I was told that it was Jordan Peterson against 20 atheists. They were told that it was a Christian against 20 atheists.
And, you know, it's kind of crazy to me because Jordan Peterson has been pretty well known for many, like probably decades. Actually, I can't cite that, but I know that this isn't a new thing. He will not claim to be a Christian. And so I just find that odd. And also, just even if Jordan Peterson were to have accepted it at the same time, like, and I don't think he did. I think it was, he accepted what he accepted and what he says he accepted. The first thing that I want to show, though, is this clip from the Jubilee video of him saying what the word believe means, because it matters. And a lot of people criticized him for constantly asking for definitions of things. And perhaps maybe I don't know, perhaps maybe he did it too much and he should try to flow with the conversation more. But at the same time, how do you debate something if you don't know what it means, right? And so, and that's entirely what he's getting at, because oftentimes debates you can be having like a parallel debate where you're talking about one topic and somebody's talking about another, partially because of definitions, because you haven't decided, okay, what's our definition for this word? I say this is true. We're battling, but the definition isn't the same, so we're not meeting in the middle. We're going to cut to this first clip here, right, where he talks about what he means by believe.
You think it to be true?
That's the circular definition. What do you mean
How
when
is
you
that
say you
circular?
believe?
How is that circular?
Because you added no content to the answer by substituting the word true and believe.
I said you think it to be true.
All right. So if
What's
you
a
believe something, you stake your life on it.
What do you mean by that?
You live for it and you die for it.
So you saw that clip there, and so the think, right? The think was important, and I think Jordan Peterson just kind of missed it. And, you know, he's probably nervous, and I've heard rumors that they really heated up in there, so he's probably distracted because it's hot. A number of different things, I would imagine. But I think he did miss it, hear him there. But at the same time, that Parker does that a lot. He likes to jump to hypotheticals, and, you know, it's like sometimes they can be good, but also at the same time they can often be used, and Parker does this a lot, used to kind of change the conversation away from what you're talking about, and it's not completely relevant because the situations are not exactly the same, and the reasoning doesn't always like fit. And Jordan Peterson later goes on to, because Parker then goes into a thing about, and I'm not going to show it, but Parker goes into a thing about the Holocaust. Would you lie to save somebody during the Holocaust? And Jordan Peterson says he rejects the question because he would have had to have made so many mistakes leading up to that. You have that clip there. And he talks about, I just want to make sure I got this. So he talks about belief, right? You stake your life on it. And that's what he means when he says believe. So he's not willing to say that he believes in God or he believes in Christianity or whatever, because he's not willing to say that he believes in God or Christianity because he's not, is he sure he would stake his life on it? Believe, the definition of believe to you is you will stake your life on it, right? Then, like Jordan Peterson, you may not actually know. You may think, you may want to, right? But you may not actually, you probably don't actually know what happens if I'm persecuted. Will I go up on the cross? Will I stake my life? Will I die? And that is entirely what he's getting at. Here's the thing, and why he won't is because, so I guess technically this is my theory, but he's talked enough that I think this is the case. He believes in free speech and speaking the truth and not lying. As far as I know, he is against lying, and so that raises into, okay, so he's not willing to say that he's a Christian because if he were to come into a situation where he was forced to give his life to declare that he believes in God, would he? And it also might just come down to, does he really know? And so that's the thing, is if he doesn't 100% know if God exists, right? Does he think, right? And then another point that I have to make, because not lying, I think, is a big part of him. So if you're a liar, right? If you lie, like you're a fraud, and then if you are not something solid, right? If you are not who you say you are, what are you? And I think that probably is a part of why he feels so, I think, vehemently about this, is then you start to lose your identity and who you are. And that's not to say that you can't change your mind and have different opinions. That's not necessarily what I'm talking about, because people learn and grow. And so it's not learning and growing, gathering new information and reestablishing is one thing, right? Because then you are that person, right? You're still that person. You've just added, right? Or in some cases you might have subtracted, but realistically the same core pretty much runs through you. And sometimes you kind of change your core, but usually there is some part of your core, because if you completely change your core, then you're not really the same as you were, right? You're not the same thing anymore. And I think that is a big part of who Jordan Peterson is. And so he won't lose his identity, and so therefore he won't lie. And so therefore he won't say he believes in God, because he's not 100% sure. I find this whole conversation and line of thought fascinating. And so now I'm going to show a couple more clips of stuff that went on in the interview.
Trying to manipulate you. And I understand that it is a touchy subject, but you're such a good reflection of Christians. And you're such a good outspoken man that's actually doing something not only for our country, but for the country that you came from. And so I just find that weak men or weak women will look at that as a way of you saying, no, I don't want to be a part of that. When they're watching you be so wise and you just waving the flag of confidently, even if they're trying to approach you in a negative way, be like, no, I am a man of God. Jesus is my God. Then does the Bible verse scare you when they say that they'll deny me in public? I'll deny you in front of my Father. Because you're denying them because they're trying to set you in a trap. But would you not have confidence?
I'm denying the questioner ownership over my tongue. I don't like having people put words in my mouth.
I think that's an important thing to note, is he's not necessarily denying God. And I kind of do stand with that. Since then, a lot of Christians have come out, but they want to define what he means, right? And he's like, no. And that's something important to know. And you may agree or disagree with that, but that's just how he feels about it.
So what do you classify yourself as? Like, if Jesus came down right now, would you be his son? Or would you be somebody who's studying Jesus? Like, where does your heart lie right now? Who is your God? And I'm not trying to trap you or to be disrespectful. I just want to know where your heart lies, because the wisdom that you're pouring out into people is something that, dude, we promote it on our show and we learn from it and we grow from it. So I just want to know who, because I see you as my mentor.
What do you think?
You're
watching?
I see you as, my perspective is that you are a God-fearing man. You're learning and you're taking what God gave you and you're teaching others. From your fruits, if I tasted them, I said, this is a righteous man that's after God's heart, like David. But then your mouth will say, who says that I'm a Christian? So it does confuse me as somebody who does watch you.
That's a good answer.
Okay, we're going to stop right there because it goes into silence. But honestly, that the silence is very telling. But so I think George's answer here is great, because I think he is after God's heart. So anyways, guys, that's going to be it for this video this week. I'll see ya all later.